Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. What would a Mason Rudolph-led Steelers offense look like? Unless or until Aaron Rodgers signs, Mason Rudolph is the Steelers' starting quarterback, so what would that look like? It's not a completely unknown quantity, since he has spent most of his career here. While he spent last season in Tennessee, and is new to OC Arthur Smith, the Steelers know him. Rudolph appears to be a popular player among Steelers players and coaches, as well as fans and reporters. Many even want to see him play all this season rather than have Rodgers sign, for multiple reasons. Among those is simply to desire to find out, after all these years, what it would look like. Rudolph has started 13 total games with the Steelers, going 8-4-1. He also started one playoff game, a loss to the Buffalo Bills in 2023. In his final stretch with the team, he started the Steelers' last 3 games, aiding their victory efforts and helping them to the postseason. While his heroics are occasionally exaggerated, he clearly elevated the offense at that time relative to the quality of quarterback play the Steelers were previously getting. Mason Rudolph had a particularly strong connection with George Pickens, who is still with the Steelers. Most of Rudolph's playing time came back in 2019, his second NFL season and the first season in which he played, after former Steelers QB Ben Roethlisberger suffered a season-ending injury in Week 2. While he started off well enough, his play declined as the year progressed. Eventually, they benched him for a stretch in favor of rookie undrafted free agent Devlin Hodges. In between, Rudolph only started 2 games, leading the Steelers to 1 loss and 1 tie. He posted a 19-11 touchdown-to-interception ratio while in Pittsburgh, including 3-0 in his final season. But in 5 starts with the Titans in 2024, Tennessee went 1-4. He threw as many interceptions as touchdowns, which is hard to ignore. The Steelers re-signed Mason Rudolph while waiting to hear back from Aaron Rodgers. They have since drafted Will Howard in the 6th round, and previously signed Skylar Thompson. If Rodgers doesn't sign, they reportedly plan to add another veteran, but as a backup. James Palmer says Aaron Rodgers is in relatively constant contact with Mike Tomlin. The Pittsburgh Steelers have frustrated many with their wait for Aaron Rodgers throughout the offseason. They're certainly taking the patient approach. It's now May, and with off-season workouts looming shortly, now would be a good time for Rodgers to make a decision regarding his 2025 season. While that decision hasn't come, the Steelers have remained confident in their pursuit of Rodgers. Part of the reason for that could be because they've remained in contact with him, as NFL insider James Palmer mentioned on 93.7 The Fan on Monday. So maybe this is going the way that everybody involved understands it to happen, Palmer said. And at the same time, I know that he, Aaron Rodgers, has stayed in relatively constant contact with Mike Tomlin. So I do believe there's enough things pointing that Aaron Rodgers would be the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As is the case with any team needing a quarterback, the Steelers have been linked via rumors to almost every option on the market this offseason. Yet, they've made just a few minuscule moves at the position. Make no mistake, Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and Will Howard can be solid backup options in 2024. Yet, this far into the offseason, the Steelers have done nothing else at the position. The only reasonable explanation is that they expect Rodgers to sign at some point. Palmer's report that the sides have been in contact is encouraging as well. Rodgers has an extremely small circle around him, and he does his best to keep outside noise away. So, if he's keeping in contact with Tomlin, that's a good sign for the Steelers' hopes of landing him. Pittsburgh's been patient, but that patience is going to wear thin. The Steelers wanted an answer from Aaron Rodgers before the draft, but clearly didn't get one. Art Rooney too said the Steelers will continue to wait for him but hinted that they'd like not to have to wait too much longer. At this point, though, there really isn't another choice. For what it's worth, Mike Tomlin has marked training camp as a potential deadline for Rodgers, although it's not an absolute. So, the wait could continue for another couple of months. The Steelers can't be comfortable waiting that long. That doesn't leave Rodgers with much time to gel with his new teammates or coaching staff either. Yet, this is the bed the Steelers have made for themselves. They didn't value Justin Fields enough to offer him as much as the New York Jets did, and they repeatedly passed on Shedeur Sanders in the draft as well. That doesn't mean either of those decisions was wrong. However, the Steelers now find themselves waiting on one of the most polarizing figures the league has seen in recent years. If Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers remain in contact, though, that can only mean good things for his chances of suiting up with the Steelers in 2025. Steelers stock watch, QB Will Howard. Player, QB Will Howard stock value, purchased reasoning. The Steelers added Will Howard as the third new quarterback in their room this offseason, completing another top-to-bottom turnover. Mason Rudolph is a returnee, but he is new to Arthur Smith's offense after parting in free agency last year. Whether Rudolph or Rodgers starts, though, Howard is likely to serve as the emergency quarterback during his rookie season. The odds do not favor Steelers rookie QB Will Howard developing into a long-term starter, but that's not the only metric by which he ought to be judged. Most sixth-round quarterbacks don't even last very long in the league, and good backups are valuable. I'm sure the Steelers really would be pleased if he developed into another Mason Rudolph. Or even Landry Jones. But the pressure, at least from some segments of the fan base, is higher just because of the current situation. The Steelers don't have a franchise quarterback, and Will Howard is their latest draft pick. Even though Art Rooney too came out and said any quarterback they would draft would be a developmental guy, some will attach their hopes to Howard. Temporarily, at least, as the Steelers will be back in the hunt for a franchise quarterback next year. It's unlikely that Will Howard will even have the opportunity this offseason to showcase his talents very much. Certainly not enough to convince a team to forego a first-round quarterback a year later. But perhaps we, and I, should really stop talking about Will Howard in terms of the Steelers' starting quarterback job. He is not that, and it is currently an unreasonable expectation, circumstantially or evaluatively. Unless or until he forces the narrative to shift, let's just let him sit back and learn. In the meantime, I'll try to take my own advice going forward. It's not his fault the Steelers didn't add anyone better than Mason Rudolph at quarterback this offseason. And you, fan? What do you think about Aaron Rodgers' situation? Write to us in the comments.